What shall we do this morning? I thought we could start by taking a little walk together. Do we have any walkers in the audience? Any walkers? Walkers are people who go out into the woods and just walk. Usually we go with a friend and we walk, and what else do we do?
Talk.
We talk, that's right. And from my own experience, actually my wife and I, we were up in by Jim Thorpe yesterday, and there's a beautiful trail there that goes up along a stream that comes down from the top of the mountain, and there's about 7 or 8 waterfalls along the way. And this particular trail is going to be shut down. So yesterday there were, like, I would say almost 200 or 300 people going up and down this trail because they really love it. It's a very, very beautiful experience. So put on the lights a little more, and can you put on some music too? Some nature music. I just want to take a few minutes because my talk today, it's about the Universal Peace Federation and religious liberty. But before we get there, let's just take a few minutes and just use your imagination. Last time you were out in nature, walking with a friend, and just try to get into that mindset. So usually there's no music playing in nature. It's usually just birds and the sounds of the trees swaying in the wind, butterflies, mosquitoes, whatever happens to be there. But this reminds me of the time when I lived up in Lake Baikal in Russia. Lake Baikal is just north of Mongolia. It's one of the largest freshwater depositories in the world. And there were paths like this, you could just walk for hours and hours into the tiger, which was the wilderness basically. And at the shore of the lake there were small Russian villages made up of little wooden huts, no running water. And we spent a week with my mother-in-law and my brother-in-law and my mother, just having our vacation in one of these little cabins along Lake Baikal. They came to visit us. They came out on the Trans-Siberian Railroad. So as you can see, as you're walking down these nature trails, all kinds of memories come back. You experience some beautiful peace inside your own heart and mind. You become more aware of your surroundings. You let go of all the things that seem to be burdening you. And you're in a space that's actually what the spiritual quest is all about. It's a place where we feel at peace, where we say we're at one with God. We are in touch with our true self. So I think what I'm sharing is something that you've all experienced, that you all know about. But I think the idea that we're moving towards is to bring that peace, that harmony, that oneness of mind and body, that beautiful something that is somehow elusive also into our everyday life. Even here in the middle of Philadelphia, we can still, inside ourselves, have that experience. So let's far as my understanding goes, this is what all the world religions have been seeking to guide people towards. That's really, when we think about it, what we're all looking for, right? In the relationships, especially in our own families, in our own communities. So I was really impressed this morning by the crew. They really, under Pastor Shoda's guidance, they really have, created, even in just a few minutes, they create a beautiful atmosphere through the songs that sing, and just everything that's been prepared, food and everything. The ambiance here, it's almost like being on that path, walking along that path. So we're just going to keep walking down this path and explore what the unification, what the Universal Peace Federation is trying to accomplish, what we're trying to do. I'm currently the representative by default. So if anybody else would like to be involved in the Universal Peace Federation activities here in Pennsylvania, I openly invite you to come and talk to me, and you can have any position you like and get involved in any way you would like to. Okay, but this is what Universal Peace Federation is trying to accomplish, is to bring all of us, all of the people here in Philadelphia, and all of the people in Pennsylvania, all of the people in America, to this state of harmony and unity and beauty and goodness. So hold that thought. I'm going to read something here from our founder. By the way, if you haven't read this book yet, I really recommend you spend a lot of time with this book. Even if you've read it 10 times, spend a little more time with it. There are so many pearls of wisdom, so much. Chris, can you just relax a little bit? Walk down the path with us, come on. I know you're always wanting to serve and help. Thank you, appreciate it. Just sit right down there and walk down the path with us. So, really, every time I pick this book up and I just open it up randomly anywhere, I feel God speaking to me directly. I feel Father, so this chapter is entitled "The River Does Not Reject the Waters That Flow into It." I'll just read the first paragraph here. Selfishness is rampant in the world. Ironically, however, the individual is destroyed by this, and not just the individual, but those around him, and the nation as a whole. The greatest obstacle to the world of peace is avarice, or avarice means materialism or desire for possession. Greed, there you go. The greatest obstacle in the world of peace is avarice, or greed in people's hearts. It starts in individuals and expands to the nation, and hearts stained with avarice cause division and conflict at every level. Countless people throughout history have shed their blood and died in conflict caused by avarice. Do you think Father has pinpointed the problem that we have in our world today? He's put the finger right on it. This is it. This is the problem. We all have experienced avarice, but compare that to what we're looking at here. You see the contrast? So, we talk about a providential history, right? Which is a history of restoration or recreation. So, at the beginning of human history, this state of harmony and unity was lost. And God, as our Heavenly Parent, has been working throughout history to bring us back to this state of harmony and unity. That's what the history of restoration is about. Christian history and Jewish history especially, focus on this aspect. Oriental history, the Chinese sages and the Indian traditions. They touch on it in many aspects, and I'm not an expert on any of those fields. But they're all talking about how can we get back to this state of harmony and unity and peace in our own hearts, especially in relationships with the people that we encounter every day. So, what is religious liberty? What's the essence of religious liberty in America all about? And I think religious freedom is the one element that makes America unique in all nations of the world. At the founding of America, all the different colonies, they all had different religions. Were you aware of that? The Puritan religion was up in Massachusetts. It was kind of foundation for Presbyterian, or rooted in Presbyterian Calvinism. But even the Puritans, they were very exclusive. Anybody who didn't completely align themselves with their doctrine and their teaching was cast out, even killed. If you read the history of the early American colonies, you'll be shocked in many ways. Catholics, Jews, any other form of Protestantism was completely, they weren't treated very well. Quakers, who settled here in Pennsylvania, they were looked upon as subhuman by the Puritans. So it may be a little shocking, but it's important to understand the reality of the founding of America. Delaware was primarily settled by Catholics. And most of the southern states were, aligned with the Church of England. So at that time, the state governments basically taxed the people in order to support the various types of religions that were being practiced in their different states. So now the American, after the American Revolution and the founding fathers are trying to create guidelines and rules for how these states that are all practicing these different religions are actually persecuting each other because of their religion, right? How can we live together as one nation? So then I'm going to read you the First Amendment to the Constitution here. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting any establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievance. So especially the first is called the Establishment Clause. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So the thing to know about this is that this was the U.S. Constitution, and this amendment applied to the federal government. As you know, in America, we have two systems of government. We have the federal government and we have the state government. And if you examine them, you'll see that they're actually almost identical. But the federal government regulates the activities of the entire nation, whereas the state government regulates the activities of the state. So this First Amendment applied to the federal government only. At the founding of our nation, each state government had the right to decide whether they want to have a state religion or not. This Establishment Clause does not limit the states. It only limits the federal government. And through the legal history of America, of course, this has been a point that's been constantly debated. But again, why is religious freedom important? Anybody would like to make a suggestion here? Why do you think to have religious freedom is important? For what purpose? Mr. Lee, why do you think religious freedom is important?
I think religious freedom is important because people have different interpretations of the divine, and so in different cultures, and so because the United States was made, people come from different places, they have different interpretations of the divine, and so we have to be able to let people experience God in their way.
Right. Okay. Just to rephrase what you said.
Yes.
So I think, Jean, what you said was that because everybody has a different understanding of what their relationship with God should be, then nobody can say, well, this is the way to worship God. It's something that's personal, something that each one of us experience in a unique way. When we walk down this path, we all have different experiences, right? We don't all have the same experience. So that's what we call freedom of conscience, right? Freedom of conscience. So Americans are given freedom of conscience. And you know, the founding fathers, they understood it's really important to have freedom of conscience because that's what empowers God to speak to each one of us and to guide our lives. Amen. You know, whenever we do something, our conscience tells us, oh, that's a good thing, or that's a bad thing, don't do that. But we are free to choose to follow our conscience or not to follow our conscience, right? But that's another story. Right now we're just talking about guaranteeing the right of religious freedom means giving the people of America the right to follow their conscience. Okay? And again, this is just on the federal level. Within the state, there's a whole different dynamic going on. But I think the way the Universal Peace Federation is purposed by its founder, Reverend Moon, and Mrs. Moon, and by the activities that the Universal Peace Federation has been conducting. And you can look at some of those activities yourselves on their website. It's upf.org. upf.org is to create an environment where people of all faiths can come together and can explore, you know, where they are in their journey at this point down the path. But we realize there is still work to be done. So the best way to accomplish the task of getting back to this state of harmony and unity, you know, as individuals, as a family, as a community, as a nation, as a world, is to actively work together, you know, for that purpose. So, I think I'll leave you guys there and encourage you to keep walking, you know, your path and sharing with your loved ones and your friends And I'd like to, especially this season, end with a quote from a sage that's close to my heart. That would be my wife. We have a small group in our community in central Pennsylvania, and we meet once a month. And she's our communications person, so she's always writing beautiful notes to everyone, inviting them to come to our meeting. And this is the most recent one that I'd like to share with you. Dear brothers and sisters, I hope you all had a beautiful Easter with family and friends. Our next meeting will be at the Moyers on May 19th. And here's my phone number. Please contact me if you'd like to share something for lunch. And she ends the note in saying, enjoy this beautiful time of year. I love spring. Spring. A lovely reminder of how beautiful change can be. Let me repeat that. Spring. A lovely reminder of how beautiful change can be. So please join me in a prayer. Good morning, Heavenly Parent. Thank you for the beautiful, beautiful environment that you've created for us. Father, thank you for all of your efforts, and Father, throughout human history to awaken our hearts and our minds to who we are in relationship to you and to one another, and to the beautiful nature that serves us in so many ways that we are not always aware of. Father, we thank you for our beautiful families and our communities that come together to fellowship and to explore and to discover and to grow together and to fulfill, Father, your hopes and dreams. We thank you so much for your love and your care. We invite you to please continue to guide us and direct us and help us, Father, to achieve our greatest potential in this short journey that we are on here on the earth, and help us to prepare our hearts and our minds for our eternal time together with you. We pray all these things in my name, Hans Moyer, together with Mrs. Moyer, for us in Central Family. Aju.
Aju.